What's up, graphic designers? In today's class, we're going to be reimagining this poster for El Mantequilla. You'll notice that there's some fun fonts at the bottom, so you're going to definitely want to go to font.com. Additionally, it looks like we have the same individual featured several times over with different filters going on, and we're going to talk about how to apply some filters, and we're certainly going to need to use layer masks. So how exactly are we going to do this? We're going to download this template, and I know that you're going to click on the three vertical dots. We're going to open in a new window. And when we do, in the upper right hand corner, you're going to see the little download icon, and we're going to download it so we can get the high res version. And once it's downloaded, you can take a little bit of inspiration maybe from this poster featuring Sabrina, Zach, and Freddie. And we've got some fun backgrounds here. So similar to our last 6 shows that we love on Netflix project, what we're going to be doing is having both the template and another blank open in Photoshop. So we're going to have 2 tabs. So here we've got the template, and I can see that in Layers palette, we've got a number of layers already queued up. And now I'm going to click File, New, and we're going to go click Print. And orientation is good. It's in vertical. I'm going to press Create. So now we've got both tabs, the blank and then this template. Tremendous. I'm going to click File, Open, and I'm going to see who's here. And here we have John. So I'm going to click File, Open, and we've got now this 3rd tab. This is tremendous. What we're going to do right now is we can do actually a couple things. I'm going to click on the object selection. We're going to select John, and we're going to keep our fingers crossed that this is a high quality selection, and it looks like it is. So what I'm going to do is simply press Command C, Command V, and you know what, guys? Here's what I know. When I zoom in, I can't help but notice that it didn't select all of his hair right here on the left side or on the right. So what I'm going to do right now, and ladies and gentlemen, this is new. And this is actually a preview of what we're going to be doing in an upcoming class. I'm actually going to press Command J. All right, so we made a copy, and I'm going to hide the background layer. We're going to use the object selection. I'm going to select John. And when we wait a quick second, this looks great. I'm going to press the layer mask. And so now when I zoom in, I can see a moment, just as in a moment ago, that there's some transparency in where his hair is, so it's not completely selected. What's going to make this a little bit easier for me to identify if there's any transparency on the selection is if we hold Option and then we click the layer mask. So again, I'm holding Option and I'm clicking the layer mask. And when we do that, and actually I'll zoom out just a tad, we can just take a quick look and see where is there any black on the interior of the white silhouette that maybe we want to address. And so what I'm going to do right now, let me pop this back in here. I'm going to press and hold space bar to use the pan tool. I'm going to press B for brush. I'm going to make sure not that black is in the foreground. Instead, I'm going to press X so that white is in the foreground. And I'm going to get a nice selection like so. And that looks pretty cool right there. I'm going to right click. I'm going to drop the hardness down to like 70%. Okay. This looks much better. I'm going to hold Option. I'm going to click on the layer mask again. And now it's back to normal. And still, if we wanted to brush with a little bit of the white, we could certainly do that. But that just makes the selections a little bit easier. Okay, I'm going to press V, and I'm going to click and drag into that 2nd tab. And you'll notice, actually, that between the 2 versions, the first one is like suboptimal. The second one is much better. Tremendous. Now what we're going to need is a background. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to Google image search. I'm going to type in business office. It's really not that serious, but I found this image right here. We're going to see how it works. So you're going to right click, copy image. You're going to have all of your subjects featured in a variety of locations. And here's what we're going to do. I'm going to have it situated so that it looks maybe a little bit like this. I'm going to click and drag it beneath John. And sure, why not? Okay, so what we want to do maybe is take a little bit of inspiration from this original one. And I can't help but notice that on this 4th one down, it looks like we've got some portraits in the background, but they're blurred out. How can we achieve that effect? Great question. So on this business office visual, what I'm going to do is we're going to click Filter, and then we're going to click Blur, and then Gaussian Blur. Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. Beautiful. And now the radius is 1.6, but if we boost it to like 4 or 8, it's going to take a second. Interesting. 14. That looks kind of cool right there, right, guys? Beautiful. So now what we can do is use the rectangular marquee. I'm actually just going to grab his whole head right there. I'm going to press Command Shift C because we want all the layers in that selection. We're going to press Command V. We're going to make sure that this is on top, and then we got to think, well, where do we want to situate this dude? Do we want to highlight his chin, his eyes, his hair? Let's experiment. All right, so maybe it's going to look a little something like this, and maybe it's his mouth that we want to highlight. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to hide this for a second, and I can see that it's going to be probably layer 10 is the very one at the very bottom, maybe 9. Let's try 8. Let's see what happens. So what we're going to do is we can reveal John. I'm going to go back to layer 8. I'm going to hold Command. I'm going to click on the thumbnail itself. There's that selection. That's great. The John layer is still selected. I'm going to click layer mask, and then we're going to unclick that paperclip to separate the image itself from the layer mask. And then we want to click on the thumbnail, and don't make the mistake that I just did, and then we can sort of situate it any way we want. So if we want it so it looks a little something like this, maybe a little bit like this, I think that's great. And you'll notice that the background isn't entirely visible, right? So I'm going to shrink this down just a tad. And you want your individual to be completely proportional all the way through. So maybe you want to do 5 different images of John or 5 different people all together. You guys are going to let me know if you guys have any questions. We're going to take some inspiration from here. We're going to apply filters on all these layers. And what I know is that when we're in Photoshop and when we're on that second layer, right, or this second tab, I'm going to press Command Z. And I know that if we click filter, we can experiment with all these different filters. So not just blur, Gaussian blur, but if we click filter gallery, right, we can think about torn edges as a possibility. Alternatively, maybe stylize is a fun background that you'd like to experiment with. You guys are going to let me know if you have any questions. You're going to save this as a JPEG and a PSD. You're going to submit just the JPEG. Let me know if you have any questions. Good luck.